If men are from Mars,
and women are from Venus,
which planet are trans women from?
Sorry, not the time or place to choose.
The following program contains material that may be offensive to some viewers.
I mean it this time. I do too.
Hello, Internet. I'm Schrodinger's TransCat, and if you don't already know that and haven't watched my previous videos, this intro message is for you. Because more than any other video in the TransCat in Space series so far, this one really depends on having some context. If you're watching this video, which is part 2 of a longer episode, and you haven't at least watched part 1 first, you're probably going to feel like I'm talking a lot of crazy and taking potshots at the underdogs. So just keep in mind that if you feel like you're missing some vital context, you are. But that's okay. So was I until a couple of years ago. Even if you have watched all the way through from episode 1, and thanks for your patience by the way.
It's been 3 hours now. 3 hours!
There's one crucial piece of the puzzle that I haven't discussed yet. So all I can ask is that you withhold your judgment and stick around for the payoff. Because it won't be long now.
Anyhow.
Previously on TransCat in Space. Speaking hypothetically, if you were in the RadFem shoes, wouldn't you wonder if this push to let trans women into women's changing rooms and women's sports teams and domestic violence shelters and rape crisis centers and lesbian bars and lesbian magazines and lesbian websites and lesbian beds.
Wait a minute. There's something bothering me about this.
Wouldn't you wonder if it all seemed kinda like a front?
We must keep up the appearance while we act as undercover agents of Mars.
Wouldn't you start getting a little twitchy about the great big Martian spaceship armada demanding entry into your home systems?
Okay. Am I the only one here who sees the alien sitting in class?
Now let me just stop you there, mate.
I know this music.
You think just because someone looks different, you can call them an alien?
Let's look at the facts, shall we?
Let's change the beat.
Transgender people have suffered stigma, hate, and violence for years and years. We are the victims here.
Warning.
What the hell's the matter with you?
With me?
Yeah, you.
What's the matter with me?
Aren't you in the wrong place, sir?
They're everywhere. In every bar, every port, every ship that can fly.
I don't think so. Well, shouldn't you be in the men's washroom? I mean, you are a man.
No, I'm not.
They arrested me, they took my winnings, they had a little fun, and a torch enough, nothing here. He's here to conquer Earth!
Get out.
Initiate defensive maneuvers.
Make me.
They're firing!
Are you happy now?
We can't let innocent people live in pain like this any longer.
Oh, sure. Let me get serious here for a minute. I can't deny that's true, and it sucks. Because it should go without saying, but trans people are people, not things.
Fine. Good. Good then.
We're being attacked by an enemy vessel! Oh!
And fair enough, radfems have been complaining about transsexuals since the days of lava lamps. So you might reckon they've cried wolf a few too many times. But what if you were a woman who 100% supported transgender rights?
Well, I knew you'd never pass the genetic scan, so I overrode the security program. This is a very good friend.
Until one weird thing after another led you up a metaphorical mountain of dismay.
Just lots of little reasons, that's all.
Wouldn't you feel a little uncomfortable and even unsafe if your new trans girl dorm roomie hadn't started transitioning yet and still looked like a 100% dude? Wouldn't you worry about the fact that any guy, anywhere, at any time, could announce, "I'm trans," and everybody just has to believe it? Like he could make that noise and he's suddenly always been a she?
You mean all I gotta do is say,
"I've always been a lady."
And what in tarnation?
Because guys, Guys are totally trustworthy. Oh, I can vouch for that. No male human, or tomcat for that matter, anywhere on this spinning rock, at any point in history, has ever told a little harmless fib in order to perv on a chick in the shower or convince her to get him laid.
Get in, get the girls, get the clams, get out.
Just like no male human has ever ripped someone off on eBay, or robbed a bank, or shot up a building.
Admit it, you've had sexual thoughts about all of us, haven't you?
Do you understand the implications?
Don't you think that somebody out there might see this as an opportunity?
Any kind of female you could care for.
And the shield is down. The perfect opportunity for a surprise attack. Decepticons!
Yeah, I know, this is hardly a new argument, or paranoid moral panic as some of you probably see it, but there have been a few notorious cases in the last few years of males who claim to be women getting away with sleazy stuff.
Pretty creepy, huh?
And I suppose you think that's my fault.
The notion had crossed my mind.
I just got the creepiest feeling a second ago, like some pervert was sneaking a peek at us.
Aw, not this again.
Look, mate, there's always a few bad apples. There's no need to get a hysterectomy. Hysterical? Yeah, whatever. Look.
That's a chance we're all going to have to take.
Those men were obviously men, right? They weren't really transgender. Of course, real trans women will never act like that.
That man, he is an imposter.
Seize that guy and throw him out the airlock.
Hang on, whoa, isn't the whole idea of gender self-ID that anyone who says they're trans is trans? And anyone who says they're a woman is a woman?
How does anyone know what not to do?
Here in Cloud Cuckoo Land, there are no rules.
It's called trust, mate. Kindness. Inclusion.
Just be kind.
Oh, okay. That's why no nightclub in the world has a bouncer on the door.
And no negativity of any kind.
That's a chance we're all going to have to take.
Anyhow, I was...
Hey! That is creepy.
Are you really gonna sit there and tell us we should just take this all on faith?
Are you frightened?
Yes.
Not nearly frightened enough.
There's a lot more here, folks.
Would you like to know more?
Opportunities exist, but only for those who are bold enough to seize them.
Tell me, what does a man such as yourself think of when he finds a viper's nest of heresy?
But TransCat, the plural of anecdote isn't data. Show me some hard stats. Well, the trouble is, crimes are now often reported based on gender identity. A male rapist or child abuser will be reported as a woman if they identify as a woman. Gosh, it's really important to respect their pronouns.
Do I detect a note of sarcasm?
Are you kidding me?
Your reaction to that last bit will probably depend on whether you think the phrase trans women are women is a courtesy, a right, or a fact.
Huh?
More on that later. Besides, if we can just take away someone's trans card the moment they do something creepy,
Liar!
It's kind of a flimsy thing to build your legal framework on, isn't it?
What may be easy to take may be easily taken away.
A gay guy who turns out to be a creep doesn't stop being gay. He's just a gay creep.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on the planet...
This is also known to happen to detransitioners, by the way. They're sometimes told they were never trans in the first place.
Well, we all have one thing in common. Am I right?
I don't!
Seize that guy and throw him out the airlock.
Yep, anyone who says they're trans is trans until they were suddenly never trans. Then again, sometimes detransitioners are told they're still trans but in denial about it, or running away from transphobia.
That was the wrong guy, but it's okay.
Now wait a second!
Don't change the subject.
Seriously, mate, what gives you the right to decide whose identity is valid and whose isn't? Actually, I don't think it's me who's deciding. Next thing, you'll be telling me that people choose to be trans. Well, it sure seems like some of those creeps chose to identify
Yeah,
as...
yeah, maybe, but that doesn't apply to the vast majority of trans people who can't help being the way they are. Why would anyone want to cop all this flack from society?
Why not stay in disguise all the time? You know? Look like everyone else.
Yeah, what he said.
Why?
I don't know.
I think you have a problem with your brain being missing.
There are lots of reasons why.
For example.
Going trans gets you a whole lot of brownie points on the left. If I announce tomorrow I'm really a lady cat on the inside, that instantly makes me a member of an incredibly marginalized, oppressed, stigmatized, and vulnerable group of people. Even though yesterday, as far as everyone else knew, I was just a regular old tomcat with the Triforce of Power in my hand.
I don't want to be a man anymore.
And there's nothing us lefties love and hug and cherish and put on a pedestal more than the underdog.
The more they look at me, the less they look at you.
No wonder you left.
Because now, if anyone says anything the least bit rude to me, I can shout, "Transphobia!" And all the experts of justice will back me up.
We're being attacked by an enemy vessel! Oh! Gotta go! Gotta go!
Terminate the simulation!
Enemy vessel. Ha! As though anyone would dare go up against the
big spaceship gang! The Armada?
And another thing.
Liars!
We got a negative Nelly in Sector 2.
Trans women and other assigned male at birth AMAB people who aren't men don't have male privilege.
Whoa. Let's cover up that noise. Give us track number 90.
Trans women are from Venus. Trans women are from Venus.
You were never a boy. You were never a boy.
Incoming transmission!
Trans women are women. Oh, I see. Well, I feel reassured. We're not the violent pushy ones. Those are guys. We're women. Trans women. We're more than meets the eye. That makes us nice. That makes us safe. And even if we look a bit manly, you know, because we just figured out this whole transgender thing 3 days ago and haven't shaved,
we will require quarters and sustenance.
We still wouldn't lie to you about our gender identity.
Trust me.
How could we? We're women. And women wouldn't do that to you.
We were just talking. Girl stuff.
That makes perfect sense.
Makes more sense than a full-scale infiltration.
Oh yes, much more sense.
All right then.
But hang on just a sec. If we are women, that should mean we should worry about this stuff too, shouldn't we? Women's issues should be our issues, shouldn't they? If I've got a lady brain, and so do you, we ought to understand and empathize with genetic girls, even radfems, who feel like they're under attack. Because we've got the same circuitry inside, apparently.
The evil wizard Ganon has the Triforce of Power.
Home economics means much more.
We have to be subjugated to men?
We should be seeing this sexuality is about gender and cotton sealing stuff the way a lot of natal women do. As an excuse for creepy shit. In fact, it might even seem like the whole thing is a great big male plot to... What in the world are you rabbiting on about? Get some perspective, mate. Just because one or two creepy dudes might use the transgender movement as a cover story, that doesn't mean you should go around irresponsibly making people paranoid about trans women in general. Any more than we should lock up all the school teachers in the world just because 1 in 100 is secretly a kiddie fiddler.
That's not entirely accurate.
Well, yeah, that sounds fair enough. Oh, unless you're a radfem or a gender critical, because they reckon all trans women are just men who want to turn themselves into women for some weird reason.
Do you think I enjoy dressing like this?
Quite possibly.
That's a load of bat poo and you know it. It is? I mean, trans women are biologically male, so I can see why some people might call them... Nah, mate, you're not getting it. Everybody knows trans women are actually female. They are?
Thanks, human female.
Yep. See, sex is socially constructed. It's a spectrum, not a binary. It is? It's not? When did that happen? Somebody should really tell the horse and cattle breeders that they've been doing it wrong all these years.
How dumb do you think I am?
I'm just trying to work that out.
Science moves on, kitten.
You're a chick, right?
Why? You have a biology test today?
You were never a boy.
It's nature.
For nature and the tripods are the two essentials for the continuation and well-being of mankind.
What you fail to understand is that intersex people exist. Which means, not all people with penises are male. And not all people with vaginas are... Hey, I went through all that in episode 1. Don't make me go over it again. Point is, a person who is masculine presenting with a penis and everything might actually be female. And lesbian. Wait. How can they be dysphoric then? What? Wasn't the whole deal with gender dysphoria that you feel like you're trapped in the wrong body? Like you're a woman trapped in a male body? So, if your body's been female all along, aren't you already in the right body?
Using mind tricks!
You're overthinking this, mate. Oh, sorry. Well, I wouldn't want to think too hard before getting any drastic surgery or passing any laws or anything.
Hands up those who are to be capped next year. You will have great understanding.
You were never a boy.
So what do you think's going on?
You were never a boy.
It's the whole attitude, it's the way people think.
We thank the tripods. We thank the tripods.
No wonder our school system's gone to the dogs.
What I was gonna say before you started interjecting with your astroturf rubbish was trans women have probably got some kind of intersex condition of the brain. They're just unlucky enough to be born trapped in the wrong body. Wait, but I thought you said they were in a female body. Shut up.
Any more of that and you'll be on detention.
And there's also no consistency.
Okay, intersex condition of the brain, fine, but can we prove that? Like with bar graphs and things? Ask and you shall receive. This study right here shows that trans women's brains are more like cis women's brains than cis men's brains. Huh, well, that does look awfully scientific. Although, it is kind of interesting that all the trans women in that study were attracted to men, and all the men were attracted to women. What's that got to do with anything? Oh, nothing, I'm sure.
Nothing or something.
Not asking.
Don't be shy.
Not encouraging in any way.
After years of tireless research,
It would almost seem that one of the moons is lighter than it should be.
I present to you the answer.
Moon is goddess, wife of sun.
You have been touched by the moon spirit. Some of its life is in you.
Huh?
What does that mean?
Anyway, some trans women don't have dysphoria. Doesn't make them any less trans.
Oh, déjà vu.
That's very inclusive of you. But if people don't have dysphoria, how can they get diagnosed and qualify for medical treatment for their disorder? Excuse me, trans is not a disorder. That's old-fashioned prejudice. Same as being gay isn't a disorder. And those two things are comparable, are they? What you getting at? Well, one of them can involve drastic and irreversible medical intervention, plus the wholesale rearranging of society, and the other just means you have better sex.
You can have a good old practice on your own, and you know, when you're ready, you have a go on someone else's.
Did you hear that? Like 9,000 orgasms.
It's fantastic.
Oh, mate, there's no reasoning with you, is there? If you don't have a problem with gay people, or those freaky left-handed types, what's the big deal about being trans? Why are you going to all this trouble, making all these videos, making a big fuss out of nothing? Why should we care?
Trans people just wanna exist. Why can't you just be kind to us? It costs you nothing, so please stop your busting lies.
Well, the thing is, a gay guy isn't usually doing it on my desk. At least not at my workplace, I'm not judging. If Freddie from marketing announces that he's gay, I don't have to treat him any different. In fact, I shouldn't treat him any different. Shouldn't go beating him up just for existing. Same as I don't go around punching people for being left-handed. I should just let Freddy get on with hooking up with guys in his private life. Or not. Same way everyone else hooks up with whoever they fancy. Or not. Or maybe I feel a bit awkward in the gym locker room with Freddy around now, but he's been in there every Tuesday night for years and he's never thrown any rainbows at me. And if he did, I'd just say I don't tilt that way. Same old routine. But if Kevin from HR announces that she's now Kelly from the letter T, I've got to change the way I deal with him. Her. Even if my eyes are still telling me, dude.
Why are you playing the pronoun game?
And everyone else has to change too.
He's a she.
Like making sure we don't slip and use the wrong pronouns, or not complaining about sharing loo space, or letting Kelly join the women's sports team and trying not to notice that she's kind of manly where it counts.
Last month, I was honoured to be made captain of my netball team.
Just to be in the warm glow of all this testosterone.
When the tripods first appeared, millions of people were capped.
This might come as a shock to you, mate, but people whinged about not being allowed to drink drive. Sometimes, behaviour's just got to change. It's called progress. Yeah, might be right. But you can see it's a bigger step compared to accepting Team Rainbow, can't you?
Rock crushes scissors. Meanwhile, elsewhere on the planet.
Warning. It's too late. We've got to operate. Just try to relax.
What could possibly go wrong?
I remember Frankenstein. Shivers up my spine.
It'll fix everything.
Whoa. Let's cover up that noise.
Everything is awesome.
What are you talking about?
Would you like to know more?
Don't change the subject.
Once that cap goes on, out go other things.
They've all got chips in their head and the chips keep going.
Curiosity?
Like puppets.
Right, no more talking, class.
Let's stay focused.
When you get in trouble, just don't involve me.
I've noticed a lot of people who get into trouble with trans activists, for instance a certain author of wizardly children's books.
It's all a bit Harry Potter.
They say things like, dress and live any way you please, as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. And that's a fundamentally liberal attitude.
Huh?
I don't mean American liberal, I mean classical liberal, which plenty of people, left and right, don't have much of a problem with.
I'll do what I want to do. Great. Okay.
And for gay and lesbian and bisexual people, that works. But it gets you into strife with trans activists because you can't really be trans by yourself. It's not really a private thing. I can say I'm a ladycat all I want, I can be 100% convinced of it, but if nobody else agrees, then I'm just a tomcat with weird ideas. And that might be why, whenever someone says something even a little bit critical or questioning, some trans activists are like, "You're invalidating my existence!"
Don't say that!
Fire some kind of laser thingy at him right now!
It sounds over the top, but they're kind of right.
You know, I was only trying to be polite!
Homosexual people exist everywhere, whether or not anyone thinks they do. But if nobody's willing to accept that a man can be a woman, the trans rocket can't even get off the ground. You're just someone with dysphoria.
You didn't want this identity, but if they take it away, you've got nothing. What do you do?
You're still a young man. You don't have to live with your mistakes. Get out while you can.
So going trans chucks a much bigger rock into the social pool. You get bigger ripples. It doesn't mean that it shouldn't be allowed, but I can see why people might push back a little more. If I declare my pronouns that you all have to use, that strikes a lot of people as illiberal, authoritarian even. Because in order to live the way I want, you all have to get on board.
They're everywhere.
Women who gave them the right.
Put another way, what does the phrase trans women are women really mean? Does it mean that trans women are literally women? Like they have female brains or some kind of essential female quality despite their misleading appearance? Or does trans women are women mean that trans women should be considered women for social and mental health purposes? Like they're honorary women?
If you want to pretend just so you can sleep at night, okay.
If trans women are an unusual kind of woman who just happen to be born in the wrong body, then that's a bit like being a woman with a disability. Their body just happens to be different to other women's.
I was born into a man's body.
In that case, we should try and help them and include them, and how they look or whether they have dysphoria doesn't really matter.
What about his horrible green head? It's a skin condition.
In fact, if trans women are really women, then not only should feminists support them, they should devote extra effort to helping them, ahead of regular boring cis women who had the good fortune to look normal.
Well, I knew it never passed the genetic scan, so I overrode the...
Shut up and get to the point!
But if trans women are actually men who are trying, for whatever reason, to mimic the appearance and behavior of women,
I want to be a woman.
And sometimes not even bothering, then being treated as women is a courtesy, not a right. That might seem like splitting hairs, but it's actually a big deal. Because a courtesy can be withdrawn if you behave badly.
If you want to pretend just so you can sleep at night, okay. But you're not really.
It's a polite fiction that can be dropped when it really matters.
Get out.
Why is that important? Because trans rights activists these days aren't just campaigning for rights as most people understand it, such as the right not to get fired or kicked out of your house just for existing. What many activists nowadays want, legally speaking, is the right to be treated as women in all situations. They want gender identity to override biological sex.
Can't you change the rules to make them happy?
Yes. We can change the rules.
But since sex is real and obvious to pretty much everyone, whereas gender identity is just based on how you feel or what you say,
I just got this feeling.
You could be forgiven for raising a skeptical eyebrow about whether this is a good idea.
You believe that you are special, that somehow the rules do not apply to you.
Look!
And if you're a woman, even if you've always 100% supported trans rights, all these legal changes can start to look like a great big smoke screen for a space invader fleet.
I am under attack! I repeat, I am under attack!
Now hang on, I haven't said it's true, I'm just saying this is what it could look like if you were a chick.
Call them and tell them we're gonna blow them up!
It could look like a battle to bring down everything women have fought for and achieved in over 100 years.
Destroy them!
Now that hurt. We're the good guys.
Yeah, sure you are.
Okay, so maybe you think that's getting a little conspiratorial.
Everything's going according to plan.
We Predacons have worked secretly towards the day when we might rise up and take what is rightfully ours.
The Human Enhancement Project. That should be your top priority.
For I will bear our people to a new plane of existence.
How do you know that?
Oh, I know all kinds of things about you.
Hi, Jennifer. You control Satellite 5.
You waste my time.
I think if there was any sort of conspiracy, Satellite 5 would have seen it. We see everything.
I can't tell when you're joking and when you're not.
Man, we almost believed him.
All I know is my gut says maybe.
There's got to be some other reason for this.
For what it's worth, I don't think it's a conspiracy. I think it's the opposite of a conspiracy. It's really quite trippy. Trans women are women!
Words of wisdom. Words of power. Words of wisdom. Words of power. Words of...
The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us.
For example.
Meanwhile, elsewhere on the planet.
What does the phrase, trans men are men, really mean?
Warning. She was a girl at school who painted wonderful pictures, really wonderful.
Now she's been capped. She never paints.
The whole course of appropriate treatment hinges on whether doctors view the patient
as a biological girl suffering mental distress, or a boy in a girl's body. Affirmative.
You know they're planning to go to Mars?
What could possibly go wrong?
I told her not to go!
I didn't think any of you experiments like
injecting the T-virus directly into living tissue. There's no guarantee it would work. Results were unstable.
Don't change the subject.
I can't deal with that now.
Of course, if anyone does decide they shouldn't have transitioned, it was totally all their fault for making a mistake. Am I right?
What a shame. Moving on now.
But maybe you're thinking, so what? Serves them right. Those bloody turfs ought to put in their transphobic heads. Why should I give a shit? Hey, trans madam. Does that sound like the kind of thing women say? I mean, Clementine Ford, Australian feminist, says she wants to fire all men into the sun from a cannon. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to think about it for a while, but it's possible, just possible, that she might be making what we call a joke. But some of this stuff people calling themselves trans women have been saying, they don't sound like they're joking. They sound like the joke with the spiky thing on the end.
Look, when a vastly superior alien culture comes all this way to take over your world, certain basic laws of planetary conquest apply. For example...
Man is stronger by far than woman. Yet only woman can create a child. Does that seem right to you?
Wait, hold your horses. You're telling me this is a 3-part episode? Afraid so. Sweet mother of Nosferatu, are you ever going to shut up and get to the point?
I don't understand this. We have been here for 3.5 hours.
I know you have questions.
That would be why I just asked them.
Red Queen.
It's as though it were hollow.
Could this be a Dyson sphere?
Of course.
Metaphorically speaking.
Whoa, slow down, egghead.
A Dyson sphere?
What in God's name are you talking about?
Here's a hint.
Look at that. Binary system. That's a pair of stars orbiting around each other. You ever been to a binary system?
Almost there.
I just keep wondering when he's gonna wake up.
Signal is definitely coming from the moon.
This is the handiwork of the puppet master.
The things you see. The darkness. The big bad wolf.
There's got to be some other reason for this.
You're going to find out very soon. Men, so easily seduced by its power.
Like puppets.
I know too much.
You do not yet comprehend your place in things.
And they are moving to silence me.
Seize that guy and throw him out the airlock.
Traitor! I am unstoppable.
It's close now. So close to achieving its goal.
No wonder our school system's gone to the dogs. Excuse me.